Step into the arena of minds. On this channel, every move is a clash of strategy, every sacrifice a turning point, and every game a battle for glory. Watch two players push the limits of creativity and calculation, as we bring you the drama, suspense, and excitement of chess like never before. Ninja. Sunil Rangarajan marches his pawn to e4 like planting a flag in the enemy's land. A bold declaration. This center belongs to me, Wesley. Try if you dare. The crowd senses fire from the very first move. Wesley answers with the Sicilian, pushing his pawn to c5. It's not just defense, it's counterattack, like swinging a sword the moment your rival breathes. Instantly, this game isn't tea time, it's war time. Sunil calmly plays c3, a patient builder move, preparing d4. It's like he's stacking bricks, ready to erect a fortress in the middle of the battlefield. Don't let the calmness fool you. It's a loaded gun. Wesley replies with e6, a quiet but sinister reinforcement. His pawn chain starts to look like a shield wall of Roman soldiers, shoulder to shoulder, waiting for the clash. Nothing fancy but deadly solid. Sunil pushes d4 with authority, smashing open the center. His pawns now stand side by side, two warriors shoulder to shoulder, daring Wesley to break through. The center burns brighter. Wesley strikes back immediately with d5, refusing to yield an inch. It's like he slapped Sunil's gauntlet off the table. Your center? No, our center. The crowd roars. The collision is imminent. Sunil captures with his pawn on d5, finally drawing first blood. The battlefield echoes, one soldier falls, but the gates creak open. The war drums intensify. Wesley doesn't blink. His queen struts forward and takes the pawn on d5. A royal lady stepping right into the fray, fearless and proud. Early queen activity? Risky, but Wesley's confidence screams louder than caution. Sunil develops his knight to f3, pointing straight at Wesley's queen. Like a knight charging at a royal carriage, spear aimed at the monarch. Tension rises, queen in danger. Wesley calmly brings out his knight to checks, shielding the queen and adding muscle to the center. He's saying, "Nice try, buddy, but my queen isn't scared of your horse tricks." Smooth and confident, tasty words. Sunil sneaks his knight to a3, an odd square, like a soldier taking a shortcut through a narrow alley. Strange? Maybe. But he's got plans to reroute and stab later. Wesley develops his knight to f6, the classic Sicilian muscle. Now both of his horses are out, two black stallions glaring across the field. The battle lines are fully drawn. Zuniel places his bishop on e2, not aggressive yet, but quietly flexing. A sniper setting up on the rooftop, waiting for the right moment to fire. Wesley crashes open the center by capturing on d4 with his pawn. That's the sound of stone walls crumbling. The battlefield just widened into pure chaos. Zuniel instantly jumps his knight to b5, a bold leap deep into Wesley's territory. It's a daredevil move, like parkour on rooftops under enemy fire. One wrong step, and splat. Wesley retreats his queen to d7, safe, but also dangerous, like a general stepping back to a hilltop to oversee the war more clearly. She's not running, she's plotting. Zuniel captures the pawn on d4 with his knight, reclaiming lost ground. His horse stands tall in the center, like a commander planting the banner again. The balance shifts once more. Wesley develops his bishop to c5, eyes burning straight at Zuniel's knight. That bishop is a sniper rifle, crosshair locked. Someone's about to drop, if Zuniel missteps. Zuniel castles kingside, tucking his king away into safety. The fortress doors slam shut behind the monarch, guards on duty. Finally, he can breathe, at least for a moment. Wesley doesn't wait. His bishop lunges and captures the knight on d4 turn. A clean, surgical strike. One white horse is down. The bishop draws first serious blood. Zuniel takes back with his knight. No way he lets that bishop live. A swift counterslash. The battlefield evens out, but the air is thick with tension. Wesley keeps chopping. Knight takes knight. Another white piece hits the ground. It's like Wesley is peeling layers off Zuniel's defenses one by one, mercilessly. Zuniel recaptures, with his pawn. The pawn structure bends but doesn't break, like a bruised boxer still standing tall. He's not out yet. Wesley castles, at last. His king slides into safety while his rooks glare across the open lines. The Black Army is officially ready to march. Zuniel develops his bishop to e3, a calm but firm stance. That bishop points straight into Black's camp, like a teacher raising a ruler ready to whack anyone misbehaving. Subtle, but powerful. Wesley quietly slides his pawn to b6, opening the door for his dark-squared bishop. It's like he's preparing to unleash a dragon that's been chained too long. The battlefield simmers. Zuniel moves his queen to d3, teaming up with the bishop. Gun. The royal lady and the cleric now stand shoulder to shoulder, a deadly combo ready to rain judgment. Wesley better watch his steps. Wesley develops his bishop to b7, and oh boy, that diagonal now cuts across the entire board. It's like a sniper, taking position on a mountain ridge, aiming down at every soldier below. Zunil calmly places his rook on done, doubling power on the d-file. That rook is like a tank rolling into the main road, engine revving, cannon pointing forward. The street battle is coming. Wesley pushes his pawn to h6, shooing away any white pieces dreaming of jumping to g5. It's like putting a no trespassing sign on his king's front yard. Small move, big message. Zunil mirrors the plan, putting his rook on cone. Now both his rooks stare at the heart of Wesley's position. Double tanks rolling side by side, ready to blast open the barricades. Wesley isn't impressed. He brings his rook to sate, staring right back. Imagine two tanks aiming cannons at each other, in the middle of the street, one blink and boom. Zunil tucks his bishop to f1, adding muscle to the center. It's like another archer climbing the tower, pulling the bowstring tighter. His army feels connected and menacing. Wesley jumps his knight to d5 with swagger, attacking the bishop, d1. A black stallion stomps into the crossroads, challenging anyone to push him aside. The crowd gasps. Who dares face him? Zunil doesn't retreat shyly. Instead, he calmly steps his bishop to a5, staring straight into Wesley's camp. This is the look of a sniper refusing to back down, aiming directly at the Black Queen's castle. Wesley snarls and pushes his pawn to f6, lunging at the bishop, punching. It's like releasing a guard dog from its chain. Get him out of here. The field rumbles. Zunil pulls the bishop back to g3, safe, but still dangerous. Like a ninja, retreating into the shadows, gone from one window, only to appear at another, daggers still flashing. Wesley counterpunches with nb4, his knight hopping forward, eyes locked on the queen and bishop d5. This black horse is basically screaming, I'm in your face now, deal with me. Zunil slides his queen to b3, dodging the knight's glare and shifting to new pressure. The queen is like a queen bee, buzzing to another flower but still carrying the sting of death. Wesley answers by pushing his queen to d5, standing tall in the center. She plants her crown right in the crossroads, daring white to challenge her. The Black Queen commands the whole board. Zunil finally says, enough, and chops off Wesley's queen on d5. The royal ladies meet in the middle, and White's queen swings her blade, decapitating the Black Queen with no mercy. The crowd gasps. Both armies just lost their monarch's strongest voice. And right here, the war changes tone. The opening chaos ends, and we march straight into the unforgiving middlegame, where every soldier bleeds for real. Wesley takes back with his bishop, calmly avenging the queen. The black bishop rises tall like a grim reaper, standing in the center and declaring, "We'll carry the crown now." The battlefield belongs to his diagonals. Zunil pushes his pawn to a3, kicking at the knight on b4 trite. It's like throwing a stone at a wild horse chewing crops. Get out of my farm. The knight must answer. Wesley ignores the insult, and instead trades rooks, his rook on sate chomping white's rook on cone. One giant tank blasts another to rubble. The explosions thunder across the board. Zuniel calmly retakes with his rook. His own armored tank rolls back into position, brushing off the dust. He's not backing down in this firefight. Wesley retreats his knight to chicks, but don't be fooled, it's not cowardice. The black stallion is simply galloping to regroup, eyeing new roads to trample on later. Zuniel slides his bishop to a6, a spear stabbing straight at black's rook and pawns. This isn't just positioning, this is a war cry echoing through Wesley's defenses. Wesley's knight pounces on d4, chomping down a pawn. A savage strike, the black horse tears into white's ranks, leaving broken shields behind. The tension spikes to maximum. Zuniel fights back with r7, his rook invading the 7th rank like a warship sailing deep into enemy waters. Every black pawn is suddenly sweating bullets. Wesley calmly lifts his rook to f7, preparing for defense. The rook becomes a bodyguard in black armor, standing between Zuniel's rook and the trembling king. Zuniel doesn't hesitate. His rook slams a check on sate. The warship fires a cannonball right at Wesley's king fortress. The crowd leans forward. Will this be the shot that cracks the wall? Wesley blocks with his rook on fight, like a knight raising a shield at the last second. Sparks fly as steel meets steel. The check is deflected. Zuniel repeats, rook back to 7, still lurking like a predator circling prey. His rook is basically shouting, "I'll be back, don't blink." Enino when cannon. Deptions is to Lowens. Wesley repeats as well, rook to f7 again. It's a staring contest between two tanks, cannons aimed, no one firing. The crowd chuckles nervously. Zuniel once more throws the check, stubbornly knocking on the door. Bang, bang, bang. He's trying to break Wesley's patience by pure annoyance. Wesley finally sidesteps. King moves to h7. Fine, he says. I'll just get out of the way. The black monarch now hides in the corner like a boxer ducking a punch. Zuniel pushes his pawn to f3, strengthening his grip in the center. A fresh wall of infantry marches forward, chanting war songs, ready to hold the line. Wesley calmly develops his bishop to b7. But don't mistake calm for weak. That long diagonal now burns like a laser beam, slicing through white's plans. One false step, and someone gets roasted. Zuniel swings his bishop to d3 with check, a surprise jab right into Wesley's king. The white bishop becomes a sniper firing from a church tower, bullet whistling past the black monarch's ear. Wesley pushes his pawn to g6, blocking the check like a soldier, stepping in front of a bullet for his king. The black monarch breathes again, but the battlefield is smoking hot. Sunil slams his rook onto d8, invading deep like a commando sneaking into enemy headquarters. The rook's shadow looms over black's backline, deadly pressure everywhere. Wesley counters with e5, his pawn stomping forward like a war drum. The message is clear: I won't just defend, I'll strike back. The center quakes. Sunil retreats his bishop to f2, regrouping like a sniper finding a new vantage point. Sometimes the strongest move is patience before the next kill shot. Wesley jumps his knight to e6, planting the stallion right in the middle. It's like a black warhorse rearing on its hind legs, dominating the field with raw muscle. Sunil advances his rook to d6, slicing into black's territory like a knife into butter. The rook stares at pawns, bishops, even the king. Everyone is trembling under its glare. Wesley doesn't flinch. His knight hops to f4, lunging toward white's bishop. That black horse bares its teeth like a wolf, hungry for prey. Sunil saves his bishop by tucking it back to f1. The bishop retreats into the monastery, safe from the knight's jaws, but ready to re-emerge as a holy assassin later. Wesley keeps up the hunt, dragging his knight to f5. Now the stallion lurks on the flank, snarling like a guard dog off its leash. Sunil's king can feel the hot breath. Sunil shoves his pawn to f4, trying to crack open the queenside. A battering ram slams into black's fortress. The crowd cheers. The tension is explosive. Wesley calmly drops his rook to 7, bolstering the defense. Like a black tank rolling into position, it covers the line of attack, daring Sunil to keep trying. Sunil pushes b4. The pawns march like a siege tower advancing, fueled by desperation. He's bringing the fight to Wesley's doorsteps. Wesley shifts his bishop to chix, a perfect diagonal strike. The black sniper adjusts the scope, locking onto every white pawn that dares move. Sunil rams his pawn to a5, smashing through the wall. The white soldiers are screaming, charging without fear. This is do-or-die time. Wesley takes with bxf5, blowing the pawn apart. One white soldier gets flattened under the black avalanche. The field is littered with rubble. Sunil retakes immediately. Another white pawn storms forward, slamming into the black ranks. It's tooth for tooth, claw for claw. Wesley calmly moves his king to g7, stepping into a safer zone. The black monarch is no longer hiding. He's stepping onto the field like a warlord. Sunil pushes again with a6, his pawn charging like a berserker. That pawn isn't just wood, it's a living missile racing for promotion. Wesley blocks with bd7, his bishop planting itself like a stone wall. The sniper throws down the rifle and becomes a shield. Zunil swings his rook to dun, doubling down on the open file. His tank adjusts position. Cannon aimed at Wesley's king zone. Wesley's knight leaps back to Fower, harassing everything in sight. The stallion bites, kicks and tramples. Every white piece is nervous. Sunil tries a new angle, rook to bone, eyeing black's pawns. It's like sneaking a warship around the flank to fire from the coast. Wesley calmly slides his bishop to sate, reinforcing his pawns and covering vital squares. The black pieces huddle into a deadly fortress. Sunil thrusts his rook to bait, stabbing at the heart of black's position. The rook barges in, like a battering ram at the castle gate. Wesley answers brutally. His bishop chomps Sunil's proud bishop on a6 Dietzigen. One of white's biggest guns is torn apart. The battlefield tilts toward black. Zunil takes back with his bishop, evening the score. A last desperate strike, bishop against bishop, smoke rising from the clash. Wesley doesn't hesitate. Rook check from Cohen. The black tank fires point blank. The white king staggers under the blast. Zunil blocks with his bishop on a using his holy warrior as a shield. A sacrifice of faith, standing between king and death. Wesley slices it down instantly. Henry. The black rook crashes through the bishop like an axe splitting wood. White's defenses crumble further. Sunil shuffles his king to f2, desperate to escape the firestorm. The white monarch is running, cloak torn, crown slipping. Wesley coolly drops his rook to a1, eyeing Sunil's last bishop and pawns. The rook is a predator circling for the kill. Sunil lashes back with a check on b7. His rook spits a cannonball, one last flash of defiance against the black horde. Wesley calmly sidesteps with his king to fate, brushing the dust from his armor. Nothing shakes this man. Zunil gobbles a pawn on a 7, his rook clawing whatever loot is left. He's desperate, scavenging in a burning city. Wesley answers with a countercheck, rook to a2. The black predator snaps its jaws, chasing the white king across the ruins. Zunil retreats his king to f1, running into another corner, panting, cloak scorched. Survival mode only. Wesley's knight leaps and eats a pawn on g2. The black stallion is wild now, ripping through white's camp like a rabid beast. Zunil desperately checks with his rook on a8. His warship fires one last shot, trying to slow the inevitable doom. Wesley calmly walks his king to a7, straight into the storm with fearless eyes. This is not a king hiding. This is a general leading the slaughter. Zuniel repeats with a 7 check, clinging to hope. It's like tossing stones at a tank, loud, but not enough. Wesley calmly moves his king to d6. Step by step, the Black Monarch marches forward, unstoppable. And right here, ladies and gentlemen, the middlegame carnage has drained both armies. We are stepping into the endgame, where every pawn is gold, and every mistake is death. Zuniel throws his rook to 7, trying to build a shield wall in front of his king. The rook stands like a loyal bodyguard, spear in hand, shouting, "You'll reach my king, over my dead body." Nene entai. Wesley grins, and slams his knight to e3 with check. The black stallion jumps through white's defenses like a wrecking ball. The white king is rattled, the crowd gasps, the noose tightens. Zuniel retreats his king to gone, scurrying away like a monarch running through a burning castle. His robes catch fire. There's nowhere left to hide. Wesley calmly lifts his king to e6. This is no hiding king. This is a warlord marching shoulder to shoulder with his army, stepping into the ashes to finish the kill. Zuniel swings his rook back to a 7, trying to find counterplay. His warship circles one last time, cannons loaded, hoping for a miracle shot. Wesley snarls and throws a rook check with rg2, d8. Like a predator swooping from the sky, the black rook screams down the g-file. The white king is trembling in his boots. Zuniel ducks to hone, his king shoved into the very corner. This is checkers in the corner stuff, the monarch pressed against the wall with nowhere to breathe. Wesley calmly moves his rook to c2, centralizing with deadly precision. That rook now cuts the board like a guillotine, threatening to slice anything in its path. Zuniel shuffles his king back to gone, like a panicked animal pacing in a cage. The walls are closing, his moves are fewer, his time shorter. Wesley pushes his pawn to a 5, a casual but brutal reminder, even pawns can kill in the endgame. That pawn is a dagger inching closer to white's throat. Zuniel drops his bishop to d3, waving the last holy cross in defense. His cleric stands before the king like a priest refusing to abandon the doomed. Wesley answers with another check, rook slicing across to g2 do-I. The black war machine is toying with its prey now, forcing the white king to dance. Zuniel shuffles back to hone, cornered again. His king is breathing heavy, eyes wide. It's tragic and heroic all at once. Wesley moves his rook to d2, cutting across the board with surgical cruelty. The rook is now a guillotine blade, hanging above white's neck. Zuniel checks with ra6, firing his rook like a desperate arrow. A cry of defiance, but the black army doesn't even flinch. Wesley calmly shifts his king to e7. Fire cannot burn him, steel cannot cut him, he's untouchable, a juggernaut rolling forward. Sunil fires another rook check, clinging to scraps of hope. His rook screams, "If I must die, I'll die fighting." Wesley sidesteps again, king to d6. The black monarch marches like a titan, every step echoing doom. The board shakes with inevitability. Sunil desperately checks again with Re6. His rook fires one last cannonball, but everyone in the hall knows. This is the cry of a doomed soldier. Wesley ends it with kc5, calmly walking his king into glory. The black king stands tall in the center, an unstoppable conqueror. And with that, Sunil resigns, the white flag raised over the ashes of his camp. The war is done, the battlefield silent, except for Black's victorious roar. Wesley emerges, cloak of smoke behind him, the champion of this bloody duel. Dear one, Portengist 01. Boom, and stay wintruye, and hecken, almost. That's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really motivates me to bring you even more exciting chess games. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Nenum no sekayan, chessian, Danya Wars.